So, Bill, tell us about the Snake Pit.
So Snake Pit is a unique area where we're really designing it to have the most exciting, loud, sometimes annoying, and crazy fans in the building. It's unique for sure. If you're sitting there, you're a different breed of person.
Nice. So tell us about how the league has grown and developed, along with the Dallas Rattlers.
So the league is in a great position right now, and over the last 17 years, it's continued to grow and change. Recently, they wanted to move Rochester, and they were looking for places to move them. They did a test game here in Dallas, the championship game last year, and the fans were great. They played at the Star, which I don't know if you're familiar with the Star, but it's a practice facility for the Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys front office headquarters. So it's an amazing place. It's the best building in our league. They did a test run there. Fans came out. Building worked perfectly. They said, hey, let's move a team to Dallas. I think it would be great. So they started looking for opportunities to bring a team to Dallas. And that's where they kind of targeted on Rochester to come here.
So what role does the Rattlers play in the community? I know you're very community involved and orientated.
Yes. Yeah, no, a huge role. Everything we can possibly do for our community, we try to. I live in the community. I was here before the Rattlers came, and it was just a great coincidence that the opportunity kind of put itself in front of me, and I lived in the community they were looking to come to. So as part of the community, as me being here, I really want to do something. Every game we have dedicated to a nonprofit organization. We bring attention and funds to an organization every single game. In addition, we do a lot of our outside type stuff where we can go out and help and raise awareness and funds. That's one of the more important things to me. Sports are sports, and people love them. But at the end of the day, what we can leave behind is goodwill and some, just some happy people and supportive people.
And you're the perfect person to speak to this about the MLL and just how it is compared and how it has grown to be right up there with the other leagues. With your experience with Major League Baseball and the NBA, how do you feel that the MLL is starting to rival those other leagues?
The one thing we all have to put in perspective when we're looking at Major League Baseball or NFL or NBA or NHL, those leagues have been around forever. And they've gone through their ups and downs. They've gone through growth periods, and they've gone through kind of, periods where they had to pull back a little bit. We're an incredibly young league when it comes, in perspective. So we're always growing and trying stuff. We have the ability to learn from what those other leagues did. In addition, we have the ability, because we're so young and nimble, to try different things and do different things. And not a lot of leagues can move a team from Rochester to Dallas, can, have the flexibility to bring players across the nation to do that. We have that flexibility. So I think that this league is set up for a ton of success, and the game is set up for a ton of success. It is a high-energy, fast, exciting game that, if you haven't been to one, you really don't know. But once you've been to one, you're hooked on it.
Exactly. It's one of those things fans really need to experience in person to truly grasp the feel of it. Because watching it on TV is nice. No offense to the the TV provider, but the in-game experience. I know what you mean, because I finally got my first experience last year. It was one of the teams that played in that championship game you mentioned. It was the Ohio Machine, the winners from the previous year, and experiencing that live. I'd seen lacrosse games on TV. I'd played lacrosse video games, but to actually be there, the intensity, you're right, was just so much better.
It's a different level. We were talking about my background a little bit, and I've worked in basketball, mostly baseball. I didn't grow up playing lacrosse and don't have a real strong background in it, but I've learned to love the game very quickly, just based on that high energy that's in the building. I still watch them on television because my team goes out of town and I want to watch sometimes. But being there is, you don't have to know the game to love the game.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that, to truly grasp the big picture of it, it might take a little bit of time. But to get that enjoyment level, you're right, you can get it early on. It's one of those games that you can catch on to the the basic scoring of it, but then when you want to learn into detail, there's always another level to go to, it seems like.
Yeah, like in any sport, I mean, there's a deeper level. I play pickup basketball around town. A lot of the guys I play basketball with never heard of lacrosse or tried it or seen it. So I brought them out to a game, and from after that game, they started asking me to bring sticks to the basketball court so they could just try. None of us are any good at it. They could barely catch the ball, but they've gotten hooked just because they were there in the building and they saw what the game really was.
The main reason for calling you today is the changes. Tell us about the big changes that are occurring with the off season this year.
Well, so it's a long time coming. With Sandy, our commissioner, joining the group, we have an opportunity to make a lot of new, fresh changes to the league. And there's a lot of new people. Like, this is my first year to the league. So sitting back, looking at it and saying, hey, what can we do? What do we need to do to grow this game and push it further? And one was support our players much better. Their income level has been pretty stagnant for a while. Most of these guys all have jobs outside of the game of lacrosse, and this is something that supplements some of their income. We raised that 51% this season.
Wow!
So their income has gone up. The overall cap has gone up 51%. We have the opportunity now to increase some of our top players, to a much higher level, and increase some of our lower players too. So it's been that in itself is a great win for the league, because now we can start treating these guys like pro athletes, and as they always were, but now they can start getting not paid like a Major League Baseball player, but start making a significant amount of income where it is a benefit to them to play the game and to dedicate their time, lose some of their family time to our game. So that's been great. In addition, we added 2 games. So we went from 14 home games to 16 home games.
Nice.
And, 14 games, period, to 16 games. So we've got 7 home games. Now we have 8. That, I think, is a big win, because we want to continue to get a wider audience. Gives me more opportunities to fill the building and get people in there, right, to see the game. So I think that's a big win for us and the players as well.
Exactly. Like you were saying earlier with the charities, that's another organization that you're able to help and able to bring the community together to change lives. That's great.
Absolutely. And, when we talk about our community, it's not always the Dallas community or the Frisco community. Sometimes it's the lacrosse community. Sometimes it's, the state or the nation, where there's somebody who has a need. We try to identify that, and just having more opportunities to do that for us is just an incredibly big win.
And then, of course, the third one is the extra player on the roster.
Yeah, that needed to happen. We continue to expand. These guys are incredibly great athletes, and they're playing great athletes. This is the highest level of lacrosse that you can imagine. So it's a physical game. People are getting hurt. People need a breather. Just to have that one more person it doesn't sound like a lot, but it definitely just helps the flow of the game and us get the highest talent on the field.
So going back to the first one, the cap, obviously, like you were saying, how lacrosse has, the league hasn't been around as long as some of the other ones. Of course, we've all heard the stories of Jim O'Toole for the Reds when he was a pitcher, and then in the summertime he worked as a butcher. Or the football player that was a night guard, or different jobs. But with it, the salary cap increasing, do you feel that is going to legitimize it a little bit more and make those players, like you said, it's not that their athleticism is going to change, but it's going to make them go, yeah, that is what I do. I am a lacrosse player. I'm not a lacrosse player that does whatever else, or a whatever else that does lacrosse.
Yeah. I do think that there's a group of individuals that now can dedicate more of their time to the sport, and not only their time in getting better or staying in shape, but also just branding the game through their own social media and their own business activities. So I think that's where we're honestly going to win. Is we've got guys that are a little more dedicated that are now able to go out and talk more about the Dallas Rattlers or the Ohio Machine or just Major League Lacrosse. I think that's where we win.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, because that way when, we call up and we say, hey, we'd love to have so-and-so on the show, they're not going, well, I got to work that day, or I got this, or I got that. Like you said, or you can do more fan appearances and just, more access to the players, like you said, with the social media. It makes it more of a... like you said, with the branding of it, it sounds great. It sounds like it's a win for the players, it's a win for the league, and everyone's going to move up.
Yeah, and the one thing our players are very concerned about, and they're incredibly great guys, is treating the game the right way. They are all highly invested in this game becoming equal to a soccer or hockey or baseball. So it's not a selfish thing that they're putting in. They put their time in to make the future of lacrosse even brighter. So I love the guys that we have, and I love that they're focused more on the team and the future than they are strictly themselves.
And then, of course, going to the extra game, that gives you, both ways. You have that extra game to be able to develop the players, to be able to keep things going. Plus, like you were saying, the ability to have more fans experience the game. They can't, if they go, well, I can't make this game, but I can make this extra one. That sounds like a really a win opportunity.
I think it is. Not much I can say except for that gives me the opportunity to bring another theme, foundation, groups into the building, more season ticket holders. We get to continue to expose the game and get more players on the field. It's great.
Exactly. Anytime you can grow it like that, that's the way to go. And it also gives the coaches more time with the players, right?
Yeah. We here in Dallas, we have great coaching staff. Those guys are great. They're incredibly close to our players. It helps us not only get closer to players, but still continue to build in our game plan as we get closer to playoffs and championship, that we continue to flow more and more. And the more times we get together, the better.
I know all teams are going to be different with their strategy with this, but what position do you feel is going to be the most added to the roster? Do you feel it's going to be more of a defensive player, offensive player, or goalie by chance?
Well, so you're talking to a baseball player that got involved in lacrosse, so I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to who we would add. I would say probably coach. He'd probably be looking for an additional attackman just so that we can continue to
keep them fresh.
Keep them out there. We had an amazing defense last year. We'll have amazing defense this year. We had USA player Joel White, and we had the defensive player of the year Matt Dunn on the team. So defensively, we were incredibly solid. Offensively, we were solid too. We were a good team, if you don't know. But I would say, the more that you can keep those guys fresh on the attack side, the better. If coach is listening to this and he disagrees, I'm sure I'll be getting a call.
Exactly. One of those things, like you said, keeping the players fresh, and then just being able to add that depth to the team. So you have that player that is that project that you feel could be somebody great, but isn't there yet, and you can just keep an eye on them. Yeah, it sounds like a win-win. And then any other? Oh yeah. Before I let you go, have you done that 3-on-3 tournament yet?
No, we're looking to do that in, I believe it's January. Oh. We're really excited about that. That's something that we kind of came up with here, that we want to be an incredibly good partner to our lacrosse community here, all the clubs and the rec groups. We don't want to come out and compete with them. We want to support them. One thing we didn't really see here was a 3v3 tournament. For us, what my goal is to get sticks in kids' hands that have never played the game. So this 3v3 tournament is entry level. It's no contact, so no pads, and it's a short field, so you're not, no hard running. This is just the opportunity for people to be competitive and learn the game, and we're really excited about what that's going to bring to the community.
I know what you mean. That's one of those things I feel has really helped grow soccer, is the youth the more of them getting involved. Like in my area here in Cincinnati, we have FC Cincinnati, the soccer team, and they I mean, out of nowhere, have went from the minor leagues all the way up to MLS next year.
Yeah,
And
they're amazing.
Just to have, because we've had so many people play soccer for so many years, but never really had a place to watch it. So just like lacrosse, like you said, the more hands get on sticks, the more fans you're going to get in the crowd, like your friends that you play the basketball with.
Yeah,
just that experience, you need to open up their eyes to the game. So that sounds great. If fans are wanting to find out more about the Rattlers on social media, on the web, where's the best spots to check them out?
On the web, go to DallasRattlers.com. We're also very active on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So, and we're constantly checking it. So if a fan wants to communicate with us directly, just send us a note. We'll be happy to talk through some of the things we're doing, get people involved, and just build relationships.
Sounds great, Bill. Thank you, and we definitely look forward to having you on the show next year and covering the Rattlers.
I like it. Thank you.
Welcome.